Everyone has heard of soul mates, soul ties, and soul connections. Good day, children of the cosmos. Perhaps you have had a deep connection similar to this in your own life that transcends anything else. But what precisely is the nature of this connection? And how can you be certain that you have a spiritual connection rather than are just infatuated? We'll begin by defining soul connections and examining if they may be severed in this guide to determining whether you've found a soul tie. The 8 key indicators of a soul connection will next be discussed, taking into account everything from the depth of your comprehension of one another to how it feels to be with that person. We'll end by offering some tips on how to find a kindred spirit. The knowledge of soul connections. Our soul, also known as our spirit or essence, is who we truly are. It exists both inside and outside of our physical bodies. A specific form of relationship with someone who is genuinely important in your life is called a soul connection, or a love link. You're likely to feel more connected to them than to anybody else, and you might even get the impression that they truly see you. Soul connections can serve as the basis for long-lasting friendships as well as love relationships. However, this is not a need. Most often, when two people have a great deal in common in terms of ambitions and beliefs, a soul connection will develop. You frequently discover that despite never having met, you have a keen affinity for one another and have shared a variety of situations. All of this combines to offer you a relationship that will revitalize you, support you, and aid in your quest for greater self-awareness. Can a soul relationship be severed? It's widely accepted that even when a relationship ends, soul ties remain intact. These relationships, which often go by the names twin flame soul links or soul ties, go well beyond the realm of the material. And a soul connection is something you won't forget. This does not exclude you from forming new, equally significant relationships, though. You simply need time and space to grieve the passing of the previous soul connection in your daily life and to heal. You must first acknowledge that you are still emotionally attached to this individual, and that you wish to change for your own sake. In order to proceed to the forgiving stage of rehabilitation, it is ideal that you confess this to a friend or therapist. To go past this stage, you must attempt to forgive both the other person and yourself for your own bad roles in the relationship's breakdown. Finally, you'll get to the point when you're prepared to let go of the soul connection. For instance, you might start thinking seriously again about starting new relationships after a lengthy absence, and take down everyday soul connection reminders from your home. 8 signs of a deep soul connection. Now that you know what deep soul connections include, let's talk about some more specific indications that you've encountered one in your own life. So here are 8 indicators that you've met someone with whom you'll have a strong spiritual bond. First sign. You'll go above and beyond for one another. Selflessness becomes ingrained in you when you have a soul connection. You consistently consider each other's needs and, where practical, give priority to those needs. While this doesn't imply neglecting your own needs, it does entail frequently making sacrifices. In contrast, you might have engaged in more power struggles with previous partners. It comes naturally to want to satisfy and care for each other when you have a soul connection. This feeling that you'll sacrifice anything for one another also applies to your interactions with one another outside of romantic relationships. You'll promote them, cheer for their accomplishments, and speak out in favor of their importance. These factors make soul connections an extremely effective tool in the workplace. Second sign. Mutual esteem. It is impossible to emphasize the significance of respect in relationships. When there isn't respect for one another, communication and connection can easily start to break down, whether you're thinking about your relationship with a spouse, friend, or family member. Again, when you find a soul connection, this respect begins right away. This individual will inspire admiration in you, and you will feel admiration for them. Importantly, when you disagree with each other, you will maintain your respect for one another and refrain from being mean or calling one another names. Instead, you'll be mindful of each other's humanity and fragility. Additionally, this regard endures even if the individual with whom you are connected chooses a different course. you'll discover that you value your differences just as much as your commonalities, and that it's precisely because of them that you learn and grow more as a team. Third sign: you always help each other out. Even if you are the kind of person who constantly wants to help others and thinks the best of them, you will notice that these impulses multiply tenfold when you develop a soul connection with someone. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, you will find yourself supporting your loved ones and believing in their judgment. Compare this to a relationship where partners are adversarial or try to bring each other down rather than help. Relationships with a soul connection are uniquely beneficial because they are supportive and based on commitment and respect for one another. In other words, you will be in the best possible circumstances to manifest the finest possible version of yourself when you have a soul connection. Fourth sign: usually, you can tell when anything is wrong. A soul connection comes with a unique form of intuition, which is another significant distinction between a soul connection and other, less powerful connections. Even when the other person's feelings are unexpected, you'll discover that you pick them up swiftly. In other words, it feels like this person has supercharged your empathy, making it simple to adopt their viewpoint in place of your own. In turn, you'll feel this, which is immensely fulfilling and validating. People who have experienced soul connections occasionally talk about instances in which they just knew, without being told, that something was amiss. For instance, even if you are unable to articulate the reason you believe this individual needs assistance, you may simply know that you ought to call them or visit them at their home. This instinct also manifests in happy circumstances. For instance, you can feel as though you knew the moment your partner accepted their ideal job offer. Fifth sign: you put your complete trust in them. Although it grows in all wholesome, pleasant relationships, trust plays a special role when there is a soul connection. In particular, you'll notice that you instantly and without any genuine proof trust this person. You may take uncommon risks as a result of this because you frequently just have a gut feeling that they are someone you can count on or trust. As a result, soul-based partnerships may develop more swiftly than other types of relationships. For instance, you might decide to start a business together immediately after meeting, or you might get hitched a year or less later. Others may find it unsettling at first, but you'll feel deeply confident in the reliability of your soul connection. As the foregoing implies, soul connections can be thrilling and enable you to be more vulnerable than ever to another person. The important thing is that being this near will always make you feel absolutely secure. Sixth sign: feel as though you have known them longer than you actually have. You'll notice that everything happens more rapidly and intensely than it does in other relationships as you go through these indications of a soul connection. The main cause of this is frequently the fact that you don't feel at all unfamiliar with this person. Instead, they give you the impression that you've known them your entire life or perhaps even from a prior existence. This implies that a lot of the work required to become intimately involved with someone is already done for you in the relationship. Again, there are mutual advantages to this element of soul relationships. You enjoy the benefits of effortlessly and thoroughly understanding someone, as well as the satisfaction of knowing that someone truly understands you. It's hardly surprising that those who have soul connections frequently report experiencing higher than usual feelings of self-worth and self-esteem. Seventh sign: with them, your life is better. When you have a soul connection with someone, they enrich your life in ways that stand out from the majority of previous relationships. Everything about your days will be more joyful, in part because you support one another in your respective efforts to pursue your dreams by acting as a sort of champion for one another. Additionally, simply being accepted and appreciated for who you are will make life more enjoyable. In other words, you experience a certain level of unconditional love without ever feeling the need to adjust to each other. You'll suffer when you're apart, since having this soul connection in place makes life so much nicer. It's possible that you'll find yourself missing this other person a lot and thinking about them frequently. This contributes to how hard it is to split up with your soul mate, though most would agree that the pleasure of the experience outweighs the danger of harm. Eighth sign: the connection is seen as personal development as well. Finally, you might have observed that all of the aforementioned indicators share a theme of personal development. You can be certain that a person will significantly alter your life when you have a soul connection with them. Most importantly, this person will help you see a clear picture of who you are and what you need and want from life. You can discover all of a sudden, for example, that a certain profession or career path is holding you back and that your strengths lie elsewhere. You have more motivation than ever before because of the vitality that a soul connection delivers to your life. This drive may make its way into all facets of your life, including your physical well-being, creative endeavors, professional endeavors, and interpersonal connections. After a relationship featuring a soul connection, you won't ever be quite the same, but all of the changes should be for the better. How to find a similar person. Now that you are aware of soul connections, you will be able to spot them when they occur in your life. With this understanding, you will be better able to distinguish between a genuine soul connection and a relationship that is more akin to desire or infatuation. My dear children of the cosmos, meeting your twin flame is one of the best experiences in your life. I wish you meet yours one day. Until then, stay safe and cherish life.